Welcome to this week's class. This week we're going to focus on Rashi. There's many levels we can choose to accentuate what I'm trying to show. And I guess I'll go ahead and name a couple of those things. They're all going to be shown, but what we want to walk away from, maybe that's up to you. And maybe it's up to me to figure out in the future where I want to go with this. But number one, is the things that you need to think about, concern yourself with, and think about the big picture of the Torah world. How many of you have been told or led to believe, or whatever your experience is in Torah Judaism, Rashi is coming to explain the Pshat? You guys hear about that? First thing I'm going to tell you is no, he doesn't. He himself comes to tell you Lefi Pshuto. By the end of today, hopefully you'll know what Lefi Pshuto is a little bit. I'm not going to explain it now. Number two, with that said, how many people are actually understanding what Rashi is coming to do? Number three, with that said, what is the function of Rashi? Meaning, what if he is Lefi Pshuto, which he is, which means he is not Pshat, which he is not, then what is the function of this Lefi Pshuto Rashi commentary to the Torah? What is it actually serving to do? And finally, and this hurts me the most, every time we do this experiment, I guess it's an argument between me and Chaim Klorfin. He wants to say that we have to accentuate the Pshat. Stop thinking that it's Pshat when it isn't and get the Pshat. My beef is, once we filter through all the Hebrew sources and then check our work in the English art scroll, 10 times out of 10 art scroll is wrong. We will show that again today. Which means if you're relying on the English, you are actually walking away with nothing. You think you're getting the entire Torah for free, but you're not. You're actually getting a big zero, and I mean that. Absolutely zero. With that said, let's go ahead and start, yeah? I'm going to take you through a step-by-step what my process was, and then once we get on the hitch point, we're going to stop with the process and go into the pill pull. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Step number one. If you're following along at home, you should be opening your books to Bamidbar, chapter 11, verse 17. Are you there? I'll go ahead and read the verse in English. Art scroll, for that matter. I will descend and speak with you there, and I will increase some of the Spirit that is upon you, and place it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, and you shall not bear alone. Is that understood? Rashi? We translated the verse. Now we're going to do what many people believe is Rashi giving you the Pshat. The verse says, I descended. This is one of the 10 places in the Torah that mentions God coming down. I spoke with you, v'debarti imach, and not with anybody else. Or v'lo imhen. V'tzalti, we don't know what that means. Rashi quotes Targum Onkelos. It means mighty men. Sisei Chachamim wants to say Gedola. And we know in Kabbalah that Gedola can mean Chesed, men that are on the level of Yosef or Tzaddik, as Yosef was called on the level of that Hashem was doing Chesed with Yosef. Not that he represents Chesed, but we know that the sphere of Chesed, Abraham, is revealed in Spherat Yesod, which is Yosef, which makes a full parsuf Zeran Pin Vav Ketzavos. When the light of Chesed comes out of Yesod, as the Graz Perush and Sifrit Tzniusa says, that is the tikkun on the level of Mashiach, Mochen the Godless, when the Chesed is in the mouth of Ima, which is Yesod. Then the Chachma can come out, and that's what we're trying to accomplish with these great men. I placed upon you. Why? To what is Moshe compared in this? The time of a candle, of a menorah, the time that a candle is placed on top of the menorah, everything's lit from him, and the light never goes out. V'nasu idcha, and I will place it upon them. Hitna imahim almanashikibu leim torech b'neishem torachim v'servanim. On the condition that with y'all receive on yourselves the burden of these burdensome people and quarrelsome people. V'lo tisar talevdecha, and you won't be alone. Hari tshuva lama shamarta lo ochel anochi levadi. Moses complains to God, why am I alone? And this is God's response saying, no worries, you're not alone. That is what 99.9 repeating decimal people will say is the pshat in our verse. Now here's some issues. When you get into Chazal, the rabbis, the tradition, the Masorah, when they see the commentary is on the peripheral, when it says V'yarida and God came down, they explain it the way they do because it doesn't say Amud, standing. It's coming down. Atzel is Aramaic for greatness. Now we know, this is what I like too, now we know why Atzilus is called Atzilus. It's Lashon Gadola, it's Chesed Kashor to Keser on the highest level, which is the wisdom of Atzilus. Basically, where does Atzilus come from? Right here. The level of the greatness of Moshe, of Gilui Shechina, is that not what Atzilus is? That's where the Lashon comes from. All right. We're stopping the recording at this second. Okay? Take a breather. What we've accomplished now, and then we're going to pause. We've stated our mission. Rashi is either Pshat or Pshuto. I don't know what Pshuto is yet. That's the next segment. We've given some light commentary, translated the Rashi, some background. I guess that's not so good, but anyways. Any questions? Okay. Any questions on your end?
No, that's pretty for sure to me. That's exactly the way I would have thought it would be.
Well, buckle up.
Okay. But that's what I'm thinking. I mean, you're right. This is what everybody would say.
Yeah. Take two. Welcome back, everybody. We are now our mission is gonna start. We just got introduced to the mission. Now the mission starts. The mission is we have to know what Pshuto means to Rashi. What does it mean in Torah? And why is Rashi not Pshat? How do we do such a thing? We have to prove Rashi's words. We have to find Rashi's words. People say, what's bothering Rashi? I want to say, where is Rashi getting his words from? I claim that Rashi is nothing more than a copy and paste from the Masorah. Would you buy that? Word for word, I think he wrote nothing original. He copied and pasted from Tanoim. The Tanoim is the rabbis of the Talmud, and that is a euphemism for the Masorah in its first written format, post-Hanukkah, around the time of the Churban, all the way to post-Rome, okay? The Tanaic material is the Masorah written down, the oral Torah written down. The Rishonim, and in this case Rashi, has done nothing but, and I say nothing, I'm not trying to belittle it, we're just saying he is not writing, hey, my name is Rashi, and I think I'm going to write this today. He is copying and pasting literally, verbatim, from the sources and Masorah, and if that's true, we should be able to go back in the sources of the Tanaim and find exactly what is bothering Rashi. Any questions until now? By you, any questions? Russell?
No, I don't have any. I don't have anything.
All right. Part 3. The discourse will start that Rashi is going to go and draw inspiration from the Sifri. Sifri is the Midrash Halacha on the Chumash. It's the Chumash, Psukim, Tanayim, Darshaning verses based on a superfluous hay, based on all of these superfluous, your favorite thing. Don't say Lamed, say Aleph Lamed. I saw that one yesterday. So because the Tanayim, they did not invent that tradition. That was Masorah, going back to Moshe Rabbeinu. How to understand the language and vernacular of Hashem. Speaking it to Moshe in prophecy, and then have the tools of understanding the Chumash is understanding the prophecy, and I wouldn't even call it the Hebrew. It's the sensitivity of the Lashon. A little different than Hebrew. Right? If I say, hi, dear, can you please hang your hat there? That's not an English thing, right? And if you understand what I'm saying, it's not because you're a linguist and you know that dear is a term of endearment, right? It's that we have a language. So Hashem speaks in a certain way. It's the reality of truth in this world. If we are to be sensitive to the prophecy of Moshe, of how Hashem speaks, our greatness is understanding that. It's not exactly Hebrew. It's a different skill, right? It's being aware. It's being aware of the ikr, of the root system of the Torah, seeing the matrix, the formula of it. The formula as opposed to the grammar, per se. So there's no Talmud on the verse, so the Torah Tamim is out. No Talmud. No Talmud said, oh, this pasuk is used for blah, blah, blah. So then you go through this forum, and we went to the Sifri. Midrash Halacha on Sefer Bamidbar. Yeah? Now, can you follow along in your Rashi, please? You don't have to understand what I'm saying. You have to just hear if it's the same words. Are you ready? Are you ready? We're going to go to chapter 11, verse 17. Look in your Rashi. For those following at home as well. Okay? Go in Rashi, 17. Yeah? I'm going to read. You with me?
Yeah.
All right. So, we're calling right now this the Resha, okay? My Sifri. This is not Rashi I'm reading. I am reading the Sifri. You're in Rashi. My Sifri says the Divrei HaMaskil is V'yeradati, Zoachas me'eser Yeridis Sheksuvas B'Torah. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Did I add anything or subtract anything? Are you saying that Sifri and Rashi are word for word? My next Divrei HaMaskil is V'yeradati, Imcha V'lo Yimahem. Does that sound familiar to you? Okay. And Vatsalti min haruach lema Moshe dome ba'osa shah l'ner shamunach al gebei menorah v'dalku mimenu nerus arbe v'lo chasur oro klum kach lo aisa chochmaso shamaysheh chasara klum. Very similar, isn't it? Rashi got it from the Sifri, did he not? So now we have the Resha in the middle, the Emsa, word for word, except for the second part, there's different exact nusachs of the quotation of the Midrash, but you see clearly it's the same Midrash. Now we're going to go to the Seifa. Are you ready? All right. V'naso idcha lama nemar lafishu oimer ika esa levadi tirchachem masachem v'rabavchem lekach nemar v'naso idcha v'masa'am. A little different, isn't it? So Rashi breaks shape in the Seifa, and they're similar, but where the Seifa in Sifri ended it with V'nasu idcha, look at the pasuk, Nasu idcha, and it didn't go with B'masa ha'am. It included the entire hemshich of the pasuk in the Seifa on the short end of the beginning, correct? Rashi did not do that. Is that correct? Okay. So now is when the game begins. Now the game begins. And before we do the game, let's go into the Onkelos real quick. God was revealed, spoke with you, and you are placed from your greatness spirit onto the men that are with you, that are going to endure with you, and b'matul ama velo tisovar at belechodach. V'asli alahon will be made on you and endure with you. Let me see. 1 second. B'matul ama, and you will not. They're gonna take it on with you, and you're not going to suffer alone. All right. So Onkelos gives us a nice pshat. God spoke to Moshe, and Moshe put his greatness onto these men, and they are now going to suffer with you, with Moshe. And Moshe, his request is fulfilled. He's not going to suffer alone. Is that correct? That's a nice pshat, isn't it? Russell, do you agree that's pshat?
Yes, I agree.
So I descended, I spoke with you there, V'atzalti, like my greatness from the Ruach that is on you, I placed on them, and they are with you, and they will be with you with the nation, and you will not lift the people alone. And then that's basically what Onkelos said. I think we're done now with Onkelos there, correct? So Onkelos gives us the pshat. The Sifri gave us, like, I wouldn't call it a pshat. It was already drush. The menorah, the lights, the diuk, he spoke with you and not with them. So there's already a different drasha, non-pshat element to the Sifri, correct? In the Reisha. In the Sefer, Rashi and the Sifri are totally different. Similar to Onkelos all the time, but we see Onkelos' pshat here in the drasha. Rashi and Sifri are in a disagreement. Is that correct? Okay. Pause. Now, it should be noted in the Midrashim. Midrash, who is it? Targum Yonasan, Midrash Rabbah, Yalkut Shimoni, Midrash Agadol, and others. This pasuk is when the Zekanim, the men who were conferred the Shechina, the kavod of Hashem, it was such a great day. It was akin to Har Sinai. Does that imply that God is the star of this verse? Yes. You cannot have a Sinai where God is not the star. So this is a positive, upbeat. Hashem is giving another Sinai by multiplying Moshe such that Moshe doesn't even lose anything. It's a great revelation, such that you can even say that the menorah hint is akin to maybe what the miracle of Hanukkah was. Do you agree with that? So the Midrash is out, correct? We have a Midrash. It's a great day in the world, correct? Russell, do you concur?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Here, Amnon, please take this out of the way. And this. Okay. For the record, this is my opinion based on some words from the Brisker Rav. We're going to get to the word V'yitzom, that Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron, commanding them on the people. That is Exodus 6:13, coincidentally enough, and Exodus I think 34:32. Those two verses in Exodus have to do with Moshe and Aaron being commanded by God to lead the people. And the command is the language, according to the Talmud, ordaining. They are ordained to lead the people and all that comes with that. That then tells me that the whole thing about Hashem giving Moshe's honor onto them, which is Nevuah, the kavod of the Shechina, all that stuff. That is what's called Nishmat Moshe, being a Slavish and a Talmud Chacham, the Darga of Moshe B'Trei Mashiachin. Okay? The true smicha. The true idea that Hashem comes to us and just gives us this thing, this enlightenment. That's Hanukkah, it's Sinai, it's Nevuah, it's Mashiach, it's the Gula. That's this pasuk. Midrash Tanchuma also says it's a Sinai event, as I said, Midrash Rabbah. Okay, now the games really begin. Russell, how you doing? You there? Russell, are you there?
Yeah, it just takes me a minute with my thing times out to get back on to where I can unmute it.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, it's good. I'm doing good. I'm with you so far. Pretty good.
So now we have the Reisha of Rashi is fine, or the Sifri and Rashi, correct? The Emsa, the middle part, is Oto Davar, correct? The Seifa, we see a resemblance, but it's not exact. The question becomes, in Sifri, they call them Tarchonim, troublemakers. And Rashi calls them that as well. Where does Rashi get this word, Sarbonim? Because our Sifri 11:17 does not say Sarbonim. Why? Why does Rashi change it? Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've just gone from Pshat to Pshuto. In the Reisha, Rashi was not looking to make any changes. We can call the Reisha even a type of Klipas Noga. That's for you, Russell. Why? Because it serves either way. It doesn't change anything. It can serve the Pshuto. It can serve the Pshat. It's so benign in the commentary, and the way the verse fit, there's no nafkamin that doesn't make any changes. Right? There's nothing there. So it's like a root. Nothing changes. Then Rashi brings the Seifa, and he changes. And the only change is this word Sarbonin. Now is where it starts. Once you say Sarbonin, I'm going to take you on, there's no particular way of mapping this out. So let's just get it done. The next thing I can do is go into the index and find out where in the Talmud is the verse spoken of, not necessarily in the context of Rashi, but at all. That takes us to Kedushin, and into Sanhedrin Talmud, where we're going to Paskin like the Rambam. Remember, we are out of Pshat now. Why? Because Pshat ran out of gas. I told you everything. Onkelos said, hey, it was a great day, everybody. Sinai, Kavod, Shechina, prophecy. The Midrash said, hey, everybody, it's Sinai, Kavod, prophecy. Hashem's here. It was a great day. We said that, didn't we? And that's Pshat. Would you look in the verse and read, or whatever, 11:17 out loud? Go ahead and read 11:17 out loud.
וירדתי ודיברתי עמך שם, ואצלתי מן הרוח אשר עליך, ושמתי עליהם, ונסעו איתך במסע העם, ולא שישה אתה לבדך.
And read the English.
I will descend and speak with you there, and I will increase some of the Spirit that is upon you, and place it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, and you shall not bear alone.
That sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Moshe Rabbeinu has support. Hashem is there talking. The glory of God has been passed on. It's a good thing, isn't it? Do you hear this Moshe character? Would you call him Moshe Rabbeinu or Moshe Navienu? Is this a prophet, a prophetic smicha? Is he giving over the prophetic tools or the rabbinic pilpul? Is there a rabbi in that verse? There's nowhere that says rabbi in Dini Nefashos. Correct? You would think this is Nevuah. This is the glory of God. Correct? And the word Atzilus there makes sense, doesn't it? That's the pshat. But Rashi is not coming to give you the pshat, is he? Says Rashi himself. So when we then go into the Talmud, because that's where the verse is quoted, and we go to 17a, and the Talmud wants to know, Sanhedrin Gedula Haisa, there's something called a Sanhedrin Hagadol and Sanhedrin Katana, correct? A big one and a little one. My time in the Rabbanim Amri of Moshe al Gabayan. Why does Moshe Rabbeinu have to be included in every Sanhedrin? Either by aspect or number, right? What is it, like 70 plus 1 or whatever it is, right? 71 plus whatever it is. So why do we have to have this Moshe included? 70 men plus Moshe. Why? So the Talmud asks, because they gathered there imach, imcha, with you. Imcha ve'es behadayu, with you and everybody all together. Rabbi Yehuda, imcha mishum shchina. Rabbi Yehuda says, only because the Giloi Shechina. This is a great day of Sinai, Ki'ilu. V'Rabbanan Amar Kra v'nasu idcha v'masa am idcha v'es behadayu. They're just saying, with you, like you. Rabbi Yehuda idcha b'doimin lecha. You gotta be just like you. Just like you. V'Rabbanan mukhal ma'alecha v'nasu idcha nafka v'yalfa senhedre gedula misenhedre katana. So some would say then, when they congregate to you, then there's the idea of on your level, which is Nevuah Sanhedrin Gadol. And when they are not like you literally, but they're Jews, then it's a smaller Sanhedrin. Let's read Rashi. Rashi is saying, with you, because of the Shechina, that with you, they'll stand outside the tent of meeting. V'lo yavo la'oyel mishum Shechina. They won't come to the tent because of the Shechina. Lashon acher mishum Shechina. Shitasra Shechina aleim. Hutzracho le'yois Moshe imahem. They got the Shechina. He's got the Shechina. We all got the Shechina. But it's all the Min Ruach. He quotes our verse. Rashi quotes our verse. But then, b'doimin lacham yuksin umenoikin memum. Has to be the same yichus. If it's a Jewish Sanhedrin, it has to be, then the members have to be Jewish. And we're going to ask that question in a second. I know, Russell, you want to ask that question. The Rabbanin nafka lehu b'doimin lecha. So they want to say the Sanhedrin Katan, which is called the name of Jethro, which is a smaller v'yalfna gedula mekatana. There's a big Sanhedrin and a small Sanhedrin. Right? That's it for Sanhedrin. Now we go... Oh, give me... sorry, say it again. Sorry. Then there's also page 36 in Sanhedrin. It's 36b. And it's talking about, can we have a ger on a Sanhedrin panel? I did not make this up or to anticipate this, just happens to be. Here's what Rashi is going to explain. There's a question about the prerequisite number of people in the Sanhedrin. 23, Dahainu Sanhedre, Ube Sanhedre Ksiv, and it quotes our pasuk. V'nasu itcha v'doimin lecha miyuchsin kamotcha. Jews gotta be Jews in the Sanhedrin. Shishcha kavar tsar gadol bani. Okay. Mishum shchina. And here was this one here. 1 second. Sanhedrin shichalak lo Yisrael lishvot es ha'am de'ein kam mishum shchina. Tiksiva kahal malech v'nasu yitcha v'lo min ha'nasoya yitcha masa am v'yoldahu b'shvim zakenim shalchi imo la'oil moyek ksiva mishum shchina. All right, so there's two kinds of Sanhedrin. Again, the same drasha. Now, we're going to get into... Tosfos here says, get this is a chedesh on ger. A ger can be on a ger stam ger, is kosher ladine mamoinus. Hear that? They always say a ger can't be in a beis din, a Sanhedrin. He can. You know what kind of the ger it is? It's a new ger. We have found a new kind of ger. A Bob married Jane. Jane was a Goya. Then she took on his 7 laws. Now, because convert is not what people think it is, and a Jew really can marry a ger, al pi ikar din, right? That's not done today. She, in the middle, after they had 3 kids, she decided, why do I keep 7 laws when my husband keeps 613? I might as well keep 613. She's now a Jew. So you have the din of the ger she'imo mi Yisrael, a ger whose mother is Jewish. He now is enough close by to the Jew, karov me'achicha, that he can be on a panel of judging a Jew in light cases of beis din. What do you think about that? Stam ger, he's not Jewish. His mother became Jewish. His dad's Jewish. Maybe his little brother's Jewish. He's a ger. But because the family went up, and they're allowed to technically be on a Sanhedrin, this stam ger can now judge dini mamoinus on a Sanhedrin. So when Moshe says that we have to be like you, this ger is enough like Moshe, i.e., when it says Yuchsin, to say Stam Jew is not the pshat. How do you like that, Russell?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff.
Hold on. Hold on.
I'll let you go. Just what I'm thinking. Just a point. Just what I'm thinking.
Wait, hold on. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Now we're in Kiddushin 76b, and the last place of the Talmud. Sanhedrin at that time needed to be miyuchsin, which is yichus, Jew, mishum shchina al shem nevuah na'astu sham. At the time in the desert, there had to be a Sanhedrin, yichus. The yichus wasn't just Jew; it had to be covered shchina prophecy. And that's why it was Atzilus, the Ruach, but a Sanhedrin, which is only here to judge. For example, Sanhedrin of Jethro, father-in-law of Moshe? No. So there's a kavod, prophecy, Sanhedrin Gadol, and a Sanhedrin Katan like Jethro, just to do damages. Then the ger can maybe be there, but not in the higher one. Then we say, wait a second. Remember our verse, there's 2 parts of the end, correct? They are with you and they will help lift the nation, correct? Rashi says, we are garis, the beginning part, and velo garis, the end part. Ella, except, when do we do the end part? When they are here to help you with the people, i.e. a Sanhedrin of Jethro, i.e. we don't need prophecy, we don't need Shechina, it's a lower beis din. So when we bring in both parts of the end of the pasuk, like Rashi did, it's when it's a lower beis din, no Gilui Shechina, one part, when it's Nevuah. Rashi would say the end of our pasuk doesn't change anything for Lefi Pshuto, it only adds to the pshat. But in Lefi Pshuto, you have to have the second part, because it makes a radical difference if you just had the first part. Then, you see Rashi went Lefi Pshuto. It's not pshat. The Sifri only quoted the first part. Why? I told you. The Sifri may be talking Pshat. It might be talking Pshuto. It doesn't let you know. Even though it's more mashma than it's Pshuto, they're not coming to say, we don't hold of the Pshat. So they bring one, explaining two, but encapsulating it in one. Rashi says two. I don't even know of one. It's only two. And my two is like their one that's just like two. Right? Sifri explains the Seifa in one part, Rashi in two parts. The Pshat only needs one part. Sifri might be like the Pshat, but it sounds like the Pshuto. Rashi goes in two, which is only Pshuto. It's the Mayat the Pshat. Now that we know that, we get the Brisker Rav. The Brisker Rav says, this Lashon, Avayit Som, Shemos 6:13, Shemos 34:32, Moshe and Aaron were ordained to lead the people. Vayit Som Lashem Inui. That was Nevuah. It was covered Shechina. Then look inside. Don't look inside. It's just confuse you. It's in my Sifri. Numbers 11:12. Remember our problem. Our problem is this is fine and dandy, but where does Rashi get this word sarbonin? We saw the precedent of the Talmud, but that Talmud had nothing to do with our pasuk. So maybe Rashi's drawing from the Talmud and putting it in our pasuk. But that's a stretch to say sarbonin would be that. Or is it? Because when you look at 11:12 in the Sifri, what does the Sifri say? Open the Sifri 11:12, and we have all of a sudden, Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron, command the people of Israel, Amar lehem, say to them, you should know, Shesarbonim, V'tarchin on him, Al-Manash Yizkabu Lechem, Shiyu Meklalim Eschem, and Soklin Eschem Bavanim. Sifri, 5 verses earlier, brings our verse, our word. And there's another version of Sifri that brings it as well. And there's a Midrash Rabbah, 6:7, I think. In Shmos Rabbah, 6:7, I believe. It brings the same Midrash. They are ragzanim, they're angry, and they're troublemakers and quarrelsome. What does the parish of the Midrash Rabbah say? If you claim against one, they'll call their lawyer and take you to Beis Din. That's what it means, a quarrelsome, troublesome person. If you threaten him, he calls his lawyer. So which Beis Din does that sound like to you? The upper wind with Shechina and Nevuah, or the lower wind of Jethro, where we have no Shechina, only Chachma, where we're there to congregating around Moshe to help deal with the people? Which one is it? The lesser. That's Dinei Mamonos, Dinei Nefashos, right? The Sanhedrin Katan, like the Masechta Sanhedrin was talking about. So, here we have our word Sarbonin. And the Greek says, when Moshe and Aaron were ordained, if you read Rashi and the Sifri in the 2 verses in Shemos, Hashem is saying, look, you're taking my people out. But just know they're a balagan. You have to savlon with them. You're going to burden them. And they're going to want to kill you, but you got to deal with it. So in between 2 verses in Bamidbar, 2 verses in Shemos, there's a little cocktail here of leadership, the people, and the people are problematic to the leadership. That's governed by, that is now the creation of the Sanhedrin system. Literally, that's Chaim's answer. The whole Sanhedrin that you hear about never happened. Not in terms of the Chumash. That was a different deal about Nevuah and things like that. Only in exile, when there's no more Gilui Shechina, no more prophecy, no more covenant. All you have is Sanhedrin Katana. Now they bring in the rabbinic enactment to have this new creation called a Sanhedrin. It never existed. Not in the Pshat, only in the Pshuto. Rashi is not interested in telling you about a mythical Beis Din of only Atzilus type matters. He is Mayit the Gilui Shechina. Did you hear what I just said? Rashi leaves out the Gilui Shechina, which is what the Pshat of the Pasuk is all about. He only brings in the Pshuto, only the exile version, the Sanhedrin dealing with damages and based in and little bickering and bantering. They call it the Sanhedrin of Jethro. It's a euphemism. It's a mushal for what would become, and they coming back into the land in the second temple on Shei Knesset HaGedolah. That's why Rashi brought it into two parts, the Hemshech of the Pasuk. Sifri wasn't sure. Maybe, it's like, maybe Mashiach will come. That was the Tanaim. Rashi's already a medieval Rishon. He sees, he's in France. There's no covered Shekhinah there. He only does the Pshuto. So the Brisker then says this Lashon, Vayitzom, when they were commanded, is language of how to ordain. And then he brings our Gemara in Sanhedrin, and he says, he brings the Midrash, he brings the whole deal. So apparently there's a big concept called leadership, Sanhedrin, Smicha, Rabbonis, prophecy, the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan, Har Sinai. Hear a pattern here? There's the high end and not so high end. There's the optimal end and when we're in little Bati Dinim claiming $5 on our friends. Why does Rashi put in Sarbonin? Because that is the ikar of the entire sugya. That's why Rashi is Lafib Shuto and Ma Pshat. That word does not fit the Pshat at all. Problematic people do not fit the Pshat. Problematic people fit the Pshuto. When you remove the Pshat and replace it, the replacement theology with Pshuto, you come out with the people, they're probably quarrelsome because there's no Giloi Shechina, no prophecy, and we removed the Yetzer Hara through the removed Avodah Zarah, and therefore prophecy was lost, and therefore one of the commentary says they were ordained to help them remove Avodah Zarah. Who does that sound like? A ger. And what does the ger do? He's coming in on the Beis Din now. So what was Moshe and Aaron? They were leaders of Gerim, Erev Rav. If you want to go in Torah B, the exile version. If it's not the exile version, it's the Pshat and it's B'nai Yisrael. How do you, therefore, if you go exile, Levi Pshuto, you are equating B'nai Yisrael with Erev Rav. Problematic. Very problematic. Now, we're going to go to the Rambam. How does the Rambam paskin on this? When we have in the Sanhedrin Sugya, the Rambam paskins on the Sanhedrin issue. Beis Din Shel. 1 second. I lost it. Here's the one with the ger in the Rambam. I gotta find the Rambam. I lost my spot. I'll tell you verbatim. Rambam says this Gemara, to be a dayan on the Beis Din, you have to have Chochmah. That's it. There's no level of Nevuah, Kavod Shechina, any of that. So when, remember our Sugi and Sanhedrin, they were saying it was either Kavod Shechina and Nevuah or just like Moshe the rabbi. So Rambam paskins that on the halacha in Sanhedrin, which is supposedly the pshat in our pasuk, which is really pshuto, therefore Rambam says our pasuk is Moshe Rabbeinu and not Moshe Navienu. But when you get into the Midrash, they say that pasuk is the pshat for the end of the Torah. Never again was there a prophet like Moshe. Make up your mind. Was it Moshe the prophet, and that was the Beis Din he was with, or Moshe the rabbi charging $5 of nickel and diming for thievery? Was Moshe identified with the Beis Din Sanhedrin of Jethro or with the Zakanim? The Pshat here does not mention Jethro. That is Pshuto. And that's the Rambam. And we mentioned the Grease. The Grease is telling you that when Rashi puts in Sarbinon, trouble problematic people, that's the taich of a Pshuto versus Pshat scenario. Rashi is not Pshat, he would not have put that in there. But by putting that in there, Rashi pulled in the 2 verses from Shemos, 2 verses from Bamidbar, leaving out the Midrashim of Sinai, leaving out the Kavod Shechina, leaving out the prophecy, Gilon Shechina, gone. Rashi tears apart the Sifri, brings in another Sifri, Sarbinon, and then the Brisker says Loshin V'yitzom is an Iker term for Smicha. Smicha either means the greatness of Kavod and the prophecy, but since we're rejecting that, it must be Rabbanis. Where is the rabbi rooted from the Torah? In this Pasik. Sarbinon, Rashi brought it in with Pshuto, and now for the greatness. What happens if you just want to read? Just want to read. Art scroll on the Pasik. Russell, you there? You there?
Yeah.
So now, if I didn't know any better, this is what I'm reading in the art scroll. Right? You don't have it. I'm reading the commentary on Rashi. This is Rashi in the art scroll. Ready? On our Pasuk. I'm assuming I know nothing. I want to know Pshat. I'll go back to the beginning. I want to know Pshat in the Pasuk, and Rashi's going to tell me Pshat in the Pasuk, right? And I will descend. This is one of 10 descents which are written of God in the Torah. That's correct. We said no one disputed that, correct? Okay. And I will speak with you, but not with them. No problem. No problem. Sifri said that, right? And I will place it upon them what was Moses similar to the time, to a lamp placed on a candelabrum, from which everybody lights their lamps, but whose own light is not diminished at all. No problem. No problem. Now the complicated Seifa. Sifri said it in one go. Rashi says it in two goes. Forget Sifri. Rashi rejected the Pshat, went with Pshuto. He did not bring Onkelos or the Midrashim, correct? He brought Pshuto, Rabbi, Sanhedrin, Jethro, all that, correct? Therefore, we should see in the Art Scroll commentary exactly that. Wouldn't you think so? And they shall bear the burden of the people with you. That's the Farish Rashi, right? Stipulate with them. By the way, one of the commentaries, Mikras Gadol, says, Vayitzom means the stipulate with the people when you take them out. So far, so good. That they assume this position with the understanding that they accept upon themselves the trouble of caring for my children, for they are troublesome ones and uncooperative ones. Literal translation of Rashi. Correct? And you shall not bear alone. Here you have a response to that which you said, I cannot carry this entire nation. Perfect translation of Rashi. But we said Rashi is complicated. Right? So thank God there's a footnote here. Here's a footnote. They're going to explain to me the Rashi. You ready? It says, go to note 4. Sifri 92. It's actually 102. Already got a misprint. Problem. See also Rashi to verse 12. Okay, that's good. Does that let me know what's going on? 11:12. With gather for me on verse 16, God has already implied to Moses that the elders would share the burden of leading the nation, as Rashi has noted there. Sounds good, right? Go team, go. As Rashi has noted there. And they shall bear the burden of the people with you. With me? Then is not a restatement of the elder's task. Meaning we're not graduating Moshe. Moshe has to be with the elders. So far, so good. Rather, it is a continuation of God's announcement to Moses of what would take place at the tent of meeting. After he would place on Moses' spirit upon the elders would assume the burden of the people by accepting Moses' explicit condition. Really? Art Scroll has conflated the Sanhedrin Gadola, Sanhedrin Katana. They say Rashi says both. Rashi doesn't say both. Rashi says Lefi Pshuto. So they are explaining that the greatness of the tent of meeting with Moshe's prophecy is a ger sitting on a Beit-Din, Dinim Amoinus, where there's no Gilui Shechina, no Nevuah, small Beit-Din of Jethro congregating around Moshe. Which means that when you read the Art Scroll, you will read it and you will not understand it. Why? Because it's very hard to understand Rashi. Because Rashi is complicated. We showed that. He brings it lefi pshuto. And our scroll says, hey, you're probably going to have a hard time with this. Because it doesn't make sense. The Pasuk's talking up here, and Rashi's bringing it down here. So we'll tell you, bring the lower to the upper. Only that's not what Rashi intended. Nowhere does it say Rashi did that. That is conflating pshuto with pshat. Rashi didn't bring pshat. Rashi never brought pshat. So if you read those words into Rashi, you will furthermore not understand Rashi again. Our scroll not only didn't translate it right, they put you 10 steps further from even understanding Rashi. By trying to make it go pshat. It's not pshat. So Rashi didn't give you pshat. The Chazal didn't give you pshat that Rashi is quoting from. Did we succeed in finding Rashi's sources? If our scroll is concerned with giving us the pshat, why didn't they bring in the Midrashim, explain the pshat? There was a day like Sinai. It was a day of Nevuah, a day of Giloi Shechina. They're trying to say that a rabbi, like me, can be with Moshe in the tent of meeting. Do I state my case? The end.